Hey y'all, and welcome to Brawl. My name is Brian, and Dan Goldman makes a complete fool out of himself in this subcommittee hearing, and Jeff Andrew correctly calls him out for not knowing the basics of the Second Amendment. Let's dive in.
My colleagues on the other side of the aisle, once again, are not backing the blue. They, when it's convenient, want to talk very much about how much we back the blue, and if someone flees from a law enforcement officer, they obviously should be deported, and yet if someone actually commits a crime against a law enforcement officer, totally fine for them to have a gun. If a single Republican member can explain a good rationale that does not rely on some blanket Second Amendment right, when we all know that the Second Amendment right is not absolute, and we are not, Mr. Van Drew, saying that there is no Second Amendment right. We are not sitting here telling you that the Second Amendment doesn't exist. We are simply putting common sense restrictions to prevent senseless deaths, senseless gun deaths that happen over and over and over again in this country at a rate so far above any other country that it is not mental health. It's just baffling that you're so partisan that you can't even look at an amendment in any kind of objective manner and say, you know what? We didn't include this in our bill, but this makes sense. Let's vote it in. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from New Jersey is recognized.
You want to talk about people carrying and being concerned? Speak to your local law enforcement. Go out in the streets, and I've done this in some of the cities in my district, and you go around with them, and we'll talk about guns, and they'll say, you know that person over there, that one there, these are where the drug deals are going down, these are where you can buy an illegal firearm, and we put them in jail. It doesn't matter because the judges release them. They're out over and over and over again. We're too permissive. We let people out that have committed serious crimes too early and too easily, and it's wrong. And they are carrying. There's people carrying no matter how restrictive you are because they're carrying illegally, and that isn't good. And you encourage illegal carrying when you do that. Again, I'll use a New Jersey example. They said the maximum amount of ammo that you could have in a magazine would be 10 rounds, no more than 10 rounds. So I guess all the criminals, before they went out and held up a bank, before they went out and killed somebody, they went to their gun store and had the pin put in so they could only carry the 10 rounds. I'm being facetious. Come on. We're, again, inflicting pain upon legal gun owners that just want to protect themselves or are involved in the sport and don't do any harm. It doesn't make sense. My friends on the other side, what they really want to do is amend the Constitution of the United States. That's what you want to do. You want to deny Second Amendment rights. It is clear in the Constitution that we have this right. So I would suggest instead of arguing against these laws and Supreme Court decisions that you attempt to change the Constitution. I don't think you'll be very successful. Rights of illegals, that came up. I wanted to talk about that. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The rights of illegals that are here illegally in the United States of America are not exactly the same as the rights of people who are here legally, and that is true in any country around the world. Any country. You don't have exactly the same rights. So, yes, if you're illegal and you attack a police officer, you are going to be detained, go through due process, and then you're going to be deported. The bottom line is the way that it's going in the country right now, the way that it's existed for years, when you've got to buy all these separate permits with separate laws, not knowing what you could do, good people, innocent people, number one, sometimes can't afford it. Number two, they get jammed up, just like the story I told earlier about the young lady, the nurse from Pennsylvania, who had a carry permit in Pennsylvania, crossed over the bridge in New Jersey, was stopped for, I think one of her taillights were out or whatever, was a good, honest person, never even got a speeding ticket. They wanted to put her in jail for 3 years. And fortunately, the governor saved her. That's what's wrong. It's discriminatory, it's wrong, it's ineffective. This is a way to even the playing field and to do it in a way that helps the average American who wants to be able to carry a firearm. It's the Second Amendment. We're obeying for once the Constitution and the Second Amendment.
Y'all, that is the difference between a heavily Democrat state and a mildly Democrat state. Remember, Pennsylvania is a swing state. New Jersey is considered a fairly Democrat territory, fairly blue state. But Scott Presler is out there. He's starting to change hearts and minds. So that might start changing here in the next upcoming elections. And I'll get to the midterms in just a moment. That's the real reason this is going on. But the whole idea that if you cross state lines and you have a taillight out and you happen to be carrying something that's legal in your state and now you are being charged in another, that's a bit of a problem. There's almost a 14th Amendment for that. Perhaps if the Democrats would apply the 14th Amendment a little bit more carefully, they'd realize that maybe, just maybe, a lot of their laws are technically unconstitutional. Granted, I don't actually believe that because I am a legalist, not an originalist. But there is an argument to be made, and I would love to get into the weeds on that, but I got to stay on track here. The whole point that Dan Goldman is just spewing about is basically the idea that Democrats are smart enough to know that gun violence is indeed a problem here in the United States, but their solutions to all of them ignore the fundamentals of the problem. And I'm not just talking about mental health problems here. The Democrats want to deny where the problems actually lie and want to project them on redder areas where people, simply put, don't have the same crime rate and often have a higher carrying rate. And I love bringing up this little stat. Back in the late 1980s, the town that I reside just outside of, Kennesaw, passed a law saying that all heads of household basically need to carry a firearm in their home. Well, lo and behold, within a year, the crime problem, which had been an issue in this area, plummeted and has stayed relatively low for over 30 years. That's how good some legislation can be. Hey, y'all, here's the deal. Gold loves President Trump. Under Trump's first term, the price of gold soared 53%, and the price of silver jumped 51%. Since the start of the second term, gold has skyrocketed even higher, breaking records and even outperforming stocks. Here's what I like about precious metals like gold and silver. They have been used as a store of value for centuries. Governments can't easily manipulate it. They are used as hedges against market risk and, of course, against inflation. That's why I partnered with the amazing people over at Goldco. Goldco is an award-winning precious metals company. They are fans of this show, and they have helped millions of Americans just like y'all to purchase over $3 billion in gold and silver. Right now, you can get a free copy of their 2025 gold and silver kit. On top of that, you might also qualify for their amazing unlimited silver bonus offer. So don't wait on this. Go to politibrawlgold.com to learn more. That's politibrawlgold.com or call 855-644-GOLD. And Democrats don't want to really solve any of the actual problems, and there's a whole multitude of reasons for that, but they want to piggyback off those problems, and this is their real goal, okay? They think that that's going to be a winning issue in 2026. They know that they're on the ropes. They know that they have a huge problem. And Jeff Van Drew is pointing out, hey, here's the inconsistencies in your laws here. Here's where it doesn't make sense there. And furthermore, sorry for the stutter there, but furthermore, that's a fundamental misreading of our Second Amendment rights. After all, Dan Goldman's talking about common sense legislation. What he's really talking about is an attempt to circumvent the very words shall not be infringed. The whole point of our 10 amendments to the Constitution in our Bill of Rights basically says Congress shall not enact or shall not be infringed. The Second Amendment quite literally says that Congress cannot enact any law to make it harder for you to acquire firearms. And so the Democrats want to get around this idea, and they did back in the 1990s. And in 94, they passed an assault weapons ban, and they're looking to do the exact same thing again. About 2 weeks ago, as of this filming, they dropped some new legislation. And just listen to the people I'm about to quote here. This is kind of important. Democrat Senator Adam Schiff of California leads Democrat Senators Alex Padilla of California and Democrat Senators Chris Murphy and Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut. Then later on in the same article, there are 100 more original co-sponsors of the measure in the House, including Representative Lucy McBath. The reason Lucy McBath is being brought up is because she is currently one of the front runners to be tapped to run for governor in the state of Georgia. I don't think she's going to do it. She enjoys her congressional job too much. But the reason that Adam Schiff is talking about this and then that Lucy McBath gets brought up is because Adam Schiff is desperate for more positive attention after having just egg on his face time and time again, after lying about certain documents and lying about the Trump administration and then facing no pushback. For some reason, Californians ate that slop up and decided to, promote him to senator, which, California, what happened? But I'm not going to get into the weeds on that. But Lucy McBath has been at the forefront of stuff like assault weapons bans. And she has been a holy warrior in a way, and I actually kind of have to respect that. Of the Democrats, I actually have a huge amount of respect for Lucy McBath, mainly because she's not crazy. Okay? She is not crazy. She is really fervent about this one issue, and I fundamentally disagree with her. But the reason that these names are getting brought up, the reason that they're bringing up another assault weapons ban is because they think this is going to be a winning issue. When the reality is the Democrats have lost a whole section of their coalition because they refuse to back up American labor anymore. And the Trump administration has been talking about bringing factory jobs back. Now, who does that enable more than anyone else, politically speaking? That's right, labor unions. You're increasing the strength of labor when you have, more laborers in guaranteed positions, in jobs that actually can sustain a union, and jobs that, by definition, often need a union. It's a very interesting dynamic, and again, my family roots come from East Tennessee and North Georgia. We're not exactly pro-union. We're thankful for the coal miners' unions, but we've also seen what happens in other sectors of the economy when unions get a little bit too strong. But now we're looking at a moment where the Democrats have completely abandoned the working class and the middle class, and they have to talk about something to get their people riled up, and something that they think is going to push the envelope. Let me know if you think this pushes the envelope at all. I don't think it does. I think the American people enjoy their Second Amendment rights. That's why there hasn't been another renewal of the assault weapons ban. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. My name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.